what if we thought about the Quran a little differently? Not just as a sacred text we read from time to time, but as a true, lifelong companion. In this explainer, we're going to explore how we can transform our relationship with the Quran, shifting it from something that feels distant into a constant source of guidance, comfort, and strength in our daily lives. This is just a beautiful prayer from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the key word here is spring, in Arabic, Rabi. Now, this means so much more than just a season. It's about that pure, life-giving water that nourishes the earth and makes things grow. So when we make this prayer, we're asking for the Quran to be that very source of life for our hearts. So that's the big idea here, to completely change our perspective, to see the Quran not as a book reserved for special occasions or old age, but as a constant guide, a source of security that we can turn to when we're young, when we're old, and really every single moment in between. A true companion for the entire journey. So what does this ideal relationship even look like? Well, imagine the Quran is part of your family, a constant presence you can always turn to for unwavering support. It becomes your refuge when you're confused and your most trusted counsel when you need advice. And you know, this kind of relationship, it offers so much. First, there's security, a deep, settled confidence in its guidance. It unlocks the wisdom from the stories of everyone who came before us. And check this out. It grants an incredible honor. The Prophet described those who are close to the Quran as the people of God and his chosen ones. He even said it would intercede for its companions on the day of judgment. But here's the thing. The power of the Quran isn't just for believers. And there's this incredible story from Mecca that shows its magnetic pull, even on its most determined opponents. Okay, so picture this scene. It's the middle of the night in Mecca. Three of the most powerful leaders of the Quraysh, Abu Sufyan, Abu Jahl, and Agnes ibn Sharik, they each sneak out of their homes, alone. They all find different hiding spots to secretly listen to the Prophet Muhammad reciting the Quran. As the sun came up, they accidentally ran into each other. Embarrassed, they promised each other they'd never come back. But guess what? The very next night, they were all back. And the night after that, same thing. 3 nights in a row, they just could not stay away. Later, when they finally talked about it, the truth came spilling out. Abu Sufyan admitted, I heard things I recognize as true, but also things that were new, and I wanted to hear more. But when they asked Abu Jahl, the biggest enemy of them all, he confessed something stunning. He said, I know it is the truth, but our clans are always competing. When they say they have a prophet, how can we possibly top that? I swear by God, I will never believe in him. His pride was just too strong for what his heart knew was true. So you have to ask, what was it? What power in these words pulled these wise, respected, and powerful men back into the darkness against their own promises? It's because the Quran speaks to this deep, fundamental human need we all have for answers, for guidance, for clarity. It addresses the questions and the contradictions that we all carry around inside of us, whether we're believers or not. It speaks to that part of us that knows we need help from someone wiser and greater than ourselves. All right, so this brings us to a really interesting part, a chance to do a little self-reflection. When we think about our own connection to the Quran, it usually falls into one of 3 different categories. And, understanding which one of these 3 we're in, well, that's the very first step toward building a deeper, more meaningful relationship with it.
So, here they are. First, we have the abandoner, who's basically left the Quran behind. Then, there's the repeater, who reads the words but misses the meaning. And finally, the one we should all aim to be, the seeker, who actively searches for the message inside.
The abandoner is someone who, even though they're a believer, doesn't really have a relationship with the Quran. Other things have just become more important. Think about it. They'll turn the car back around for a forgotten phone or wallet, but not for their Quran. Maybe they feel like they can't understand it, or that modern science has all the answers now, so the Quran gets left behind. And this really illustrates a danger that a companion of the Prophet, Mu'adh ibn Jabal, warned about. He talked about a time when people would treat the Quran like a worn-out piece of clothing. Something you don't really need or even look at anymore. That's the state of the abandoner. Okay, next up is the repeater. Now, this person loves the Quran, and they read it, maybe even every day, but they read it in a state of what you might call low consciousness. It's kind of like when you're driving a familiar route and you get to your destination but can't remember the actual journey. The mind is just telling the eyes to get through the pages, but the heart isn't really engaged. So yeah, they get the reward for reciting, but they miss out on the profound impact of the message itself. A perfect metaphor for this is that the Quran is drunk like water, you know? It goes down really fast without ever being tasted. The words stop at the throat. They don't travel up to the mind to help it mature. And they don't go down into the heart to soften it. The connection just stays right there on the surface. But okay, there is a third path, and this is the ideal we can all strive for. It's not out of reach at all, it's really an invitation. This is the path of the seeker. So the seeker is someone who comes to the Quran with a curious mind. They aren't just reading words on a page. They are actively searching for the message from God that's hidden behind those words. They truly believe their salvation and guidance is waiting for them in that advice. So how do they do it? Well, the seeker reads with intention. They're constantly asking, okay, what's the message for me here? They're actively searching for personal guidance. They trust the Quran as the ultimate guide, believing it's a blessed book just packed with limitless benefits that are waiting to be uncovered. And this right here is the ultimate promise for the seeker. God says that whoever follows his guidance, which is right there in the Quran, they will not get lost in this life, and they won't face misery in the next one. It's a guarantee of clarity in this world and peace in the hereafter. So when you boil it all down, the crucial thing to remember is this. The Quran isn't just a historical document or some ancient book of laws. It is a living, personal message from your Creator to you. God himself describes its true purpose for us in the most beautiful and direct terms imaginable. He tells us it was sent down to be a healing and a mercy. A healing for all the doubts, the anxieties, and the pains that we hold in our hearts, and a profound mercy that comforts us, guides us, and protects us through this journey of life. It's the ultimate source of spiritual medicine and comfort. And so we end with this one thought. Every single time you open the Quran, God has a message in there specifically for you, right now, in this exact moment of your life. The only question left is, are you ready to become a seeker and find it? What message is waiting there for you today?